I'm going to make a set of maintenance notes videos, and those videos will usually begin with Jupiter. Good morning. We're here with my chain tension tools. There are 3 wrenches here, I only need 2 of them. The 12 I no longer need because I changed the end nut from a 12 to a 13. You have the wire brush to clean the threads on the end of the tensioner bolt. You have the silicone adhesive, so the outside tensioner bolt does not quietly spin off the ends of the threads, which actually happened to me once. So you really want to make sure that you have some glue on there. The threads were dry and I just lost the nut. So always make sure that you've got some adhesive with you, yellow silicone, white silicone, or even yellow carpenter's glue will work just fine. Just make sure you're using something on those threads. If you're going to ride regularly, like I do, you should have a set of tools that you have regularly to make chain adjustments so that you get comfortable with the concept of making the adjustment. So this oddball tool, well, that's just to check the chain tension. I could have selected any tool out of my tool chest, but the screwdriver is there just to check that. So when you're making a choice on adhesives, I'm just using DAP white silicone glue. What is this? Kitchen and bath plumbing silicone. Simple stuff. The label's got some red tape on it because I had some red tape around and I just slapped it on there by accident. And decided not to peel it off. These wrenches, they're standard wrenches, very simple. I got a 22 and a 27 millimeter there, and I just swap the sockets to do the untensioning of the bolt and the retension of the bolt. So we're at 72 foot-pounds on the torque. It's actually pretty easy. It takes me about 5 minutes to do a chain tension. I do not loosen the axle all the way. I just loosen it enough to do the tension. It's actually fairly simple. It's a good idea to take the time to feel your chain at different intervals. Understand what the slack is like and how long it takes to get this out of spec slack that you need to tighten up on. Today I just tightened up the tension on the chain, and I've got a little bit more room to go here, which is good. What a lot of people do is they measure from link to link to see if the chain is stretched. I'm not at that point yet. This chain is still fairly new. Right now the chain looks, it's not kinked, it's actually in really good condition. The tension is just right now because they just set it. There's a tension above and then there's a tension below. That's within spec. Even though it seems tight, it's actually correct. If I were to put a camera to that and watch that, if that were any looser, it would tap the swing arm. So you really want some tension on that chain. You don't want it flying around and banging up against the swing arm and breaking out there in the middle of nowhere. So very good idea. If you have a camera, put a camera on your bike. I attach my camera way over there on my my crash bar, and watch your chain go. Look at where your chain is set, on your axle, and know what it is when it's loose. What does it mean to have that thing flying around when you can't see it? And then you'll get a better idea as to what your chain feels like when it's in spec. Not just trying to put a ruler on it and hope that it's right. Even though it's very dirty, this chain is in very good condition. Sometimes you'll see scarring on it, sometimes you'll see kinking. Become accustomed to the idea of having a torque wrench ready. This fairly long one is good. 72 foot-pounds. crank it up, set it, lock down the bolt. Before working on your chain, set your torque wrench up for 72 foot-pounds. Make sure you read the gauge and move it all the way up to the 70 on the foot-pound side, and then click twice. Make sure you have your LZ socket. 27. Make sure you have your 27 socket, and you should be good to go for the nut side. Make sure you have your ZZ socket. I love ZZ Top. 22. Make sure you have your 22 millimeter socket for the pin side, not the nut side of the axle pin, and you should be able to work on your chain fairly easily. That is not a 6-sided socket. That's a 12-sided. That's fine. I'm not worried about it spinning anything. Make sure your pin and nut are in good condition. Now, everybody has some different point of reference that they're going to use. For me, it's from this center to the end of the black right there. You know, you can use the end of the silver, you can use it to the end of the nut. Everybody has their own thing, but I check both sides from the center of the axle to some reference point. The center of the axle to where the end of the black is on the swing arm. That works for me. This wire brush is to just clean the threads a little bit so that I can reapply some silicone adhesive. So I have my adhesive standing by. And that's all you need right there. So that's enough adhesive to keep those nuts from spinning. Some people go, oh, you gotta have glue Loctite. Oh, you know, you gotta have this glue or that glue. Just about any adhesive to keep that nut from spinning off is just fine. White silicone is easy to wipe. If you get it on your fingers, well, you just rub your fingers together until it disappears, and then get a rag and, you know, wipe it off. So easy stuff to work with. The blue stuff, well, you know, if you want to spend $10 for a little tiny bottle, that's great. I have lots of silicone adhesive laying around for the house, so that works for me. I always take a look and see where I am here. This isn't a really good measurement. You can try and measure from here to here, but this bar slides around on this pin. So this measurement isn't a very good measurement. You really should have a reference point and get used to measuring it on your own. There are days when you'll get your bike back from the dealer and your rear wheel won't be perfectly straight. So get used to the idea of knowing when your axle is perfectly straight on both sides, and that this distance from here to wherever your reference point is always right. If you're tightening and the axle pin is spinning, just put your 22 over here and hold it while you have the torque wrench over on this side. Pop it and lock it down. One of the last things I do is, you know, I wipe down the meters so I can see things on the trail or something slips. You don't have to do a lot of cleaning work back here. It's just going to get really dirty anyway, and you don't want to rub off your glue. So just take a moment after you're done and wipe the back end of your swing arm, and things will be a little bit easier for you the next time you work. Before storing your wrench, make sure you unset it so it's all the way out. Keep going until it stops, and now you can store your wrench. This tool is as old as I am, probably older. It's probably 55, 60 years old. The pencil is probably 60 years old, and the paint that's covering this pencil has probably got a lot of lead in it. But you can use a tool like this. You know, this tool, being as old as it is perfectly fine in determining whether or not your wheel is really in alignment or not, or how close you are. there's this groove here on the end here. As long as you're pretty close to the middle, you can mark the axle and you can go, yep, that's pretty much through the middle there. So this is your distance. When I come over here and stick the compass in the end there and draw the line through the middle of the bolt, I can see that the middle is somewhere to the right of that line. That's a millimeter off or so. I can tell you right now that I can't feel that. When I'm out riding around, you know, that's not noticeable. But is that really close to where it should be? Is the wheel really aligned? And the answer is yeah, I think it is.